Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day and a great weekend nonetheless. Let's talk about what we are expecting in the markets this upcoming week. Especially, we have the Fed that is going to be making some key decisions on interest rates, and we have CPI data that will be released for the month of May, which means that this week could be pretty volatile and some uncertainty leading into that announcement, and that is happening Wednesday, I believe. Now, also, we have Palantir Technologies that did not make it into the S&P 500. We'll do a quick review on this, but talk about its price action, sitting at $23.31 and basically $23 in the after hours, what we could be possibly expecting in the short term. And also, Nvidia goes through its 10-for-1 stock split, and the actual effect of the live trading at a 10-for-1 kind of split adjusted basis. This is going to start the first minute of trading on tomorrow. So if you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, pop it up on the screen here. Nothing too new with PLTR, of course. We've had the weekend here, but what I did want to mention is we had to hit that intraday high on Friday at about that 24. Of course, when the S&P 500 announcement came, they were not included. You see the pullback here to 23. Now, PLTR, in terms of trading historical patterns, does have some consolidation between the 23s right here, so we could possibly, and I think in the short term, I don't know if we're going to see much more of a pullback just due to the fact that I don't think a ton of investors were really kind of betting all their eggs that the Palantir was going to get included into the S&P 500. So we see a little bit of a pullback here, but I think we're going to continue to trade sideways at least until we do see more key data on inflation, unless, of course, there's some big different drastic effects. Now, stock futures right now for Sunday night, like I said, are little kind of not trading that much as we are awaiting for the Federal Reserve to make their decision on interest rates and May inflation data. Now, Wall Street did come off of a positive week last week, and especially with Nvidia having a very successful week and really helping lead the broader market just due to the impact that it does have on the S&P 500. The Fed's decision and the May Consumer Price Index are expected Wednesday, and this is going to give us a really kind of gauge on the first round of interest rates regarding probability. Now, in terms of kind of market data, last Friday, we had a very strong jobs report that was released. A lot more jobs were added to payroll than that we were expecting, that Wall Street was expecting. Now, this is kind of like, oh boy, is the market still pretty hot? And we are seeing now a little bit of a decrease in the probability of those first interest rate cuts back down to about 50% when it was 70% talking about come September. Now, like we now know, PLTR did not get included in the S&P 500. Let's not we'll wait till next quarter. I think it's going to happen within the next year. The stocks that were added, though, for your information, are GoDaddy, CrowdStrike, and KKR. The stocks that were removed were Robert Half, Comerica, and Illumina. Now, talking about PLTR and 3 reasons to buy it and 1 reason to avoid it. And this is just a general article here by Yahoo Finance that I wanted to go through because I think it does highlight kind of the big key, I want to say, fundamentals that PLTR is really riding on right now. And one of those main things is its latest product. Of course, we all know AIP, artificial intelligence platform, and this has really been the rage for PLTR. And specifically, what we've seen is them really taking a successful and an exponential dive into the private sector. With that, you have large contracts that we've seen emerge in the private sector, such as Oracle recently. And we're still seeing the continuation of the governmental contracts, such as the last $480 million contract with the U.S. Army regarding the Maven Smart System. Now, number 2 right here is that revenue growth is accelerating. With this increased demand from AIP, which has really been a big catalyst for PLTR, in correlation, we see revenue that is continuing to accelerate. And in Q1, revenue grew at 21%, clipped at $634 million, the fastest pace since late of 2022. So revenue is looking very well in terms of the actual percentage that it is raising each quarter, and its margins are continuing to improve. So you can see all these 3 reasons here are really kind of all in correlation. And if we go back to the source, is AIP. So one of the big things that we have seen for PLTR, and one thing that I do like, remember AIP Con was this last week or the week before, but more than 1,300 AIP boot camps have been completed since 2023, including 900 this year and nearly 500 since March. So the majority of them have happened this year since the rollout of AIP since last year. And what we're seeing here is you can see the steam and the picking up and the expansion that AIP is bringing to PLTR. And I think we're just going to continue to see this play out right in our eyes. And the fact that this is going to continue to grow, I think is going to be the reality. So the question then, if we are going to continue to see growth with PLTR, that's what we're predicting, is what's the number one reason to avoid it? And we've talked about this before. It's the biggest criticism for Palantir. That is, it's not cheap. It trades at a very high valuation. We talked about this many times over and over and over again. But look at the AI demand right now. Look at the AI stocks. Look at SaaS stocks. A lot of these stocks are trading at a high premium. And that's just the inherent speculation that does come with a very trendy stock that is doing very well, being very successful. And that's just the speculation that comes and the risk that comes involved with someone that wants to take a bet on them continuing to grow in price. Now, one example that they do use here is Zoom Video during 2020. If you bought that at the highs, you are now down 90% from your initial investment. The thing about PLTR is I don't think we've had that kind of unrealistic or unsustainable type of growth. This consolidation and trading sideways is actually really important for PLTR, especially for maturity, building support and foundational levels, and letting them catch up to their valuation. Growing into their valuation is really important to prevent these large, basically, pumps and then pull back in extreme corrections. So right now, Palantir, I think, is in a very healthy place, kind of regardless of what's going to be happening with the interest rates too. Now, earnings, that's going to be coming out in about 2 months now. Not a ton of information to cover on there right now, but we will be, of course, it's always in the background. We'll be talking about it more often as it comes up. August 7th, that's what we're predicting right now for in terms of earnings. We'll get that announcement date, of course, that'll become sooner. Earnings per share, 8 cents per share. Now, let's talk about Nvidia quick here, the final segment of the video. What is the next play for Nvidia? And what have we seen historically with some of these big stocks that have gone through a stock split? Nvidia went through its 10-for-1 stock split. So if you had a share of Nvidia at the end of the market last Thursday, now you got 9 additional shares. Now, Nvidia, instead at $1,200 per share, is going to be trading at $120 per share. This will help increase attraction, not only from a institutional side, but more importantly, a retail side, and just the fact of earning more or basically accumulating more shares. Now, nothing changes with valuation or market cap, but what we have seen, this is the 4th out of the Magnificent 7 stocks to split since 2022. And previously, a stock split, this is a vote of confidence from the Nvidia management that the stock will hold its value. And we've also seen here typically increases what we've seen historically as a stock has gone through a stock split, especially these large ones within the Magnificent 7. Now, Nvidia skyrocketing gains, they also have driven the broader market to these record highs, and its rally has accounted for about a third of the S&P 500's return since the start of the year, and more of a quarter of the S&P 500's return since the month of May. So this shows you the impact that Nvidia has on the general market. And historically, we've seen these large companies, when they've gone through a stock split, typically be successful and continue to grow in price with the AI demand that shows no signs of cooling off. Then I think we could see here the market that continues to grow in terms of its overall valuation, just due to the fact that Nvidia has such a strong influence on the S&P 500. Now, of course, we'll see how the market reacts to the inflation data and the CPI data, but what we've seen is basically if it's negative or bearish news or that probability decreases, about a 1-day trading day of closing a decent pullback in the red, and then it's kind of wiped out the next day. So it'll be exciting to see what's happening, because right now what it really kind of appears that is that Nvidia is just battling against what the Fed is doing in terms of decision rates, and that's kind of how the market's really been trading right now. Now, of course, there's many other influences and reasons for that, but it's kind of interesting to think about how Nvidia does have such a big influence on the market. So we'll see what happens. Other than that, I want to know, what do you guys think is going to be happening for this week? Do you think PLTR, what's your prediction? Do you agree with me that we're going to continue to be trading sideways here for a little bit? You think you're going to see a little bit more of a pullback due to the fact that, of course, it wasn't included in the S&P 500? Do you think Nvidia is going to gain in price? And what do you think the CPI data in the Fed is going to do in terms of interest rates come Wednesday? A lot of things. We'll keep you guys updated, of course, with an update tomorrow. Peace out. Take care. I'll catch you guys later.